Hi folks, how y'all doing? It's Will back once again for another fight card prediction. We're going to be breaking down UFC Fight Night 99 from Belfast in Ireland, just across the water here, as Gegard Mousasi faces off against Uriah Hall in a rematch of a couple of years ago, in a card which I really like. It's flying under the radar right after UFC 205, which my picks are out there. Go check them out as well. And it's a well matched card. Some really interesting matchups throughout. This is the same day. There's the two cards in the one day, so we'll have the Brazil ones out fairly shortly as well. But see, some very solid matchups all the way throughout the card. As always, you can follow all the good guys down below me there, all the contributors, the YouTube prediction guys on there. I try and support them guys as much as possible. James Lynch with his interviews. We've got the Severe MMA podcast, Talking Brawls podcast. Half the Battle is one of my favourite shows out there. Bookie Beatdown, MMA Kelton, Z's MMA, MMA Profit, Kobe's Corner, you name it. There is plenty of guys out there who make great stuff. Rapid MMA, Brandon Kaplan. You should really go and check those guys out. I really support and endorse those guys wholeheartedly. They make great stuff and really good stuff. So just go check them out if you can, if you've got the time. As always, comment with your picks down below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But we're going to get into this fight card. Starting off in the bantamweight division, and a bout that came together about 2 weeks before the event was about to take place, I should say, as Brett Johns makes his UFC debut against another debutant in Kwak. Really surprised when this fight came together. The simple fact that I didn't see Brett Johns getting signed with the UFC. He hasn't fought in a while. Had a pretty bad shoulder injury there. But this guy's a legit, really good talent. A guy that we know quite well over here within the UK scene, a former Cage Warriors champion, a former Titan FC champion, so he's crossed the water there to go and win himself a belt and looked very good in doing so. The one thing I was a little bit worried about when I heard this fight getting put together was Brett Johns' weight, but you match that up with Kwak coming halfway across the world from Korea. You have to go with Brett Johns in this one. I think when you look at both guys, we'll start with Kwak here. He beat Aptek Oskalic last time out, a former UFC vet, and very reckless, come forward. He had his head straight in the air. He gets hit quite a lot. He can get taken down quite a lot. He does get back to his feet very quickly, I must admit. Excuse me. But he's a very game fighter, and I think he could come out very early and pose some problems for Brett Johns. But I think that Brett Johns has got that experience. I think he's probably fought the better guys than what Kwak has. I think that Johns is going to want to take this to the ground. I think that Kwak is probably a little bit quicker on the feet. I know Brett has been putting everything together, but Brett, I think, will look for takedowns here and he'll look to grind on Kwak here, and I can see him doing that. Can I see him finishing? Possibly, but I like a decision for this one. Brett Johns for the win there. Women's bantamweight division, we have Marion Reneau against Miliana Dudieva. This is one of the fights where I've seen some people say they expect this to be close, and I'm not one of those people. I can see Marion Reneau. I don't know what it is. I can see her coming out here and really blitzing Miliana Dudieva and stopping her. I really have. I think she's going to submit her. Dudieva, she's been away for a long time. She went and had a kid. Last lost to Juliana Pena. Beat Elizabeth Phillips in a fight she probably shouldn't have won there. Just an overall, she's a decent fighter. Nothing really stands out. She's very game. Marion Reneau, on the other hand, I just like her skills. I think she's a really good fighter to watch, and when she puts it all together, she's a really tough fighter to face. As we've seen, she went down to Brazil and she submitted Jessica Andrade down there. Should have probably got that victory over Ashley Evans-Smith. I can see Dudieva wanted to take a hold of Reneau, and from there I think she wants to take her down. And I think Reneau is very underrated on the ground, and I think she's going to catch her on the submission. So, like she did with Jessica Andrade, they fought in the feet a little bit, but once Andrade tried to take her down, Reneau got a hold of that neck, and there was no way out for Jessica Andrade, and she's a legit talent. Down at 115 now. I really like Marion Reneau here. She's one of the most confident picks on the card, so I'm going to pick her via submission in maybe late round number 1, early round number 2. I can see a finish. Welterweight division, Zach Cummings against Alexander Yakovlev. I like this matchup for Zach Cummings, I really do. I don't see where Alexander Yakovlev could really hurt Cummings per se. I think that Cummings is the better grappler. I think striking, he edges it just a little bit. His striking is coming on kind of slowly but surely. We've seen that he kind of stood in the pocket and traded with Santiago Ponzinibbio. I know he lost that fight, but showed a lot of heart and kept himself in there. But Ponzinibbio is a guy who's coming through in that welterweight division, is a really strong prospect. But before that, he beat Nicholas Dalby, beat Dominic Steele before he lost to Gunnar Nelson in his last jaunt over there to Southern Ireland. So I like him in this one. I just think that anywhere the fight goes, he has got the advantage. You have to watch out for Yakovlev. We've seen that in his finish of George Sullivan. A really nice combination finish there. Came out against Kamaru Usman, and Usman's a really tough guy to fight. He fights at UFC Fight Night 100 in a really good fight. I'm really confident in Zach Cummings in this one. I think he will, on the feet, he will beat up Yakovlev a little bit and look to take him down, and from there he will dominate. So I'm going to go decision victory there for Zach Cummings. Heavyweight division, we've got the debutant from the former BAMMA champion, Mark Godbeer, faces off against Justin Ledet. Mark Godbeer, as I said, he's a former BAMMA heavyweight champion, coming off a really nice finish of Stuart Austin at BAMMA to defend his title there. A guy he's a big unit, 6'4", about 240, 245, hits very hard. I think he's underrated on the ground as well. He's got submissions there. Back earlier on in his career, he had a couple of, I think it was rear naked choke or guillotine finishes, if I remember right. And just a really good guy to come into the UFC. I mean, this guy, I think he retired and then he came back and he won a fight. But he fought in Bellator, lost to Czech Congo. So he's fought decent guys. And I think he's got a good chance in this one here against Justin Ledet. Ledet really impressed me in his UFC debut and his win over Chase Sherman. His striking was very, very crisp. Really nice hands and a lot of speed as well for a heavyweight. And he really just beat up Chase Sherman really, really bad in that fight there. I'm actually going to go with Justin Ledet in this one. I like his skills overall. I think that, and now he's been in the UFC, he's got those jitters out the way, he's got a victory there where Mark Godbeer is coming in here. He will probably have them jitters in there. And I don't know what it is. I think Godbeer is a really good addition to the heavyweight division. But I like Justin Ledet to possibly win this fight. I'm going to pick him. Do I pick him via finish? I don't. I'm going to pick him via decision, a 3-round decision. So Justin Ledet for the win there. Anna Elmose faces off against Amanda Cooper in the women's strawweight division here. I like Anna Elmose a lot in this fight here. I know we've seen her on a UFC debut. She didn't really know right being in there with Jermaine Durandamy because she is really undersized for that division, and I think she knew it. And I've seen the pictures of her on her cut down to 115, and she looks phenomenal. Really, really good. So she didn't really show much in that fight with Durandamy, but she's a very game fighter, and she will look to really put her will on you wherever this fight goes. And I think this is a good matchup for her. I mean, Amanda Cooper, she was on the tough show. She faced off against Tatiana Suarez in the final. A boxing background. Her dad, I think, is a boxing coach. Really crisp striking. If she can make the weight over here in Belfast next week, that's one thing I'm a little bit worried about, is her making the weight. Anna Elmose, I think, from what I've seen on Instagram, she was 119 or 120, I believe. So she's right there at her weight already with a week to go. So and Amanda Cooper's got to fly. I think she flies all the way from the west coast of America, so that's a long jaunt out to Belfast. I like Anna Elmose in this one. I like it to be a very dominant decision, possibly a finish, but I'm going to go decision victory for Anna Elmose. Great fight in the lightweight division. Kevin Lee against Magomed Mustafaev. Mustafaev is a guy I've really got my eye on as a potential top 15 guy, top 10 guy in that lightweight division. Just one of those beasts that's coming out of your Russia, your Dagestan area, Chechnya area. And I mean, he's just quiet. You don't really notice this guy, but he's deadly once he gets in there. And everywhere the fight goes, you cannot take any time off with this guy because he will stop you. He did it with Piotr Holman. He did it with Joe Proctor last time out. He stopped both guys. He stopped Abubakar Nurmagomedov, Khabib's brother, who is a guy I really rate quite highly, who fights in the World Series of Fights. Heavy hands. Guy's got heavy hands. And I just see a clear kind of, if he can get his striking off nice and clean and get off early, I think he could cause Kevin Lee problems. Now, Kevin Lee is a guy I really actually like watching a lot, coming off a really big win back in the summer over Jake Matthews, and he starched him pretty much in that fight. Beat Efrain Escudero back in April. That was a close fight. I thought he did enough when I was in the crowd watching that to get the decision victory there. But the one fight that kind of stands out for me, if he comes in here a little bit too cocky, like he did in the Leonardo Santos fight. Santos is not known as a striker per se, and he got wiped out. And if he comes in here not defensively aware and doesn't watch the speed, because Mustafaev has kind of underrated speed. He gets in and gets in about you very, very quick, and he gets a lot of shots off. If he does that, and I think he'll look to try and take it to the ground. I think Mustafaev is got him. I think he can more than handle Kevin Lee down there. I think we could see a loss here for Kevin Lee. I like my Magomed Mustafaev via TKO. I'm going to go second round TKO for Mustafaev there. But that's a really fun fight, a fight I'm really looking forward to seeing. Another fight which should grace any UFC card, flyweight division, Kyoji Horiguchi against Ali Bagautinov. This was supposed to happen at UFC Manila, and that fight just got cancelled altogether after the main event fell away and BJ Penn fell off, and a lot of other things as well. But their loss is UFC Belfast gain, because this is a really top fight that could, like I said, happen anywhere. Two of the top guys in that division, and a talent in Kyoji Horiguchi, where I think the guy is potentially the future of the division. I think he's still quite a young guy. He's fought Demetrius Johnson. He gave him all he could. DJ is just an absolute animal in that division, no doubt about it. But tough fight here against Ali Bagautinov. But I do think Kyoji Horiguchi can come through. I do see it being close. I mean, Bagautinov, he's coming off that win, I think, was it Gian Herrera he beat last time out, and I don't know, I fancied Herrera in that one. I don't know why that was. I kind of went with that. I thought the youth might come through, and he lost to Joseph Benavidez and Demetrius, the two top guys in that division, so he can beat guys. He beat John Lineker, who's a top guy up at bantamweight now, so I just like the speed of Kyoji Horiguchi. I like the fact he's at American Top Team. I like the fact that he's trying to put everything together at a really top camp. I like the fact that he's coming over here to Europe. I mean, he fought Neil Seery in a really fun fight back in Rotterdam in May. Beat Chico Cummings in Japan. I mean, his only loss in the UFC is to DJ. So I like the speed of Kyoji Horiguchi. I think that he's going to keep that pace up and win a couple of early rounds. Bagautinov can maybe quint it like Neil Seery did. Neil Seery caught him with a shot in the third round there, but his hand speed and his combinations is so good. He gets in and out so quick. His footwork, it's kind of like Tyron Woodley. Tyron Woodley gets in really quick, a lot faster than you think. Kyoji Horiguchi is exactly the same. He's got such a fast speed about him for getting in there, getting in range and just unloading in shots and hurting you with shots there. Has to watch the takedown of Bagautinov. I think that's what he's going to be looking for. I'm going to go decision victory, and I'm going to go Kyoji Horiguchi very, very closely in a very, very well-matched fight. Middleweight division, Marcus Cedenblad faces off against the debutant and the former the Cage Warriors middleweight champion, Jack Marshman. Marshman, another good addition to the UFC middleweight division, but I think he's just got a tough matchup here. I mean, he's coming off some wins in the past. Ali Arash he got in the first round. I can't remember who he faced. My mind's kind of letting go here of who he fought last time out. He did defend that. I think it was a TKO victory in the third round there. My mind's going blank. But Marcus Cedenblad is a really, really awkward guy to face in your UFC debut. And people forget about this guy. This guy has some decent wins in his UFC career. I mean, he beat Scott Askham. I know he got dropped in that one. He beat his only loss in Krzysztof Jotko's record, which is saying something. So, yeah, you've got to watch it. He's not overly good at anything, but he's like one of those big awkward guys that you've got to watch out, especially if you're rushing in for takedowns and leaving your neck out there. He will grab on something, and he will look for the submission. I just think it's a tough debut for Jack Marshman, but I can see if Cedenblad starts to fade, I can see Jack Marshman in the later half of this fight really putting a beating on Marcus Cedenblad. So it's a very close fight in my opinion. I'm going to go with Marcus Cedenblad. I'm going to go via decision. Very, very, very close fight though. And another great fight. Ian McCall, Uncle Creepy against Neil Seery in his last ever fight of his career, which it's a sad thing, but he's going out in his own terms. I mean, the guy's like a working class hero. The guy, he'll probably fight next Saturday. He'll go back to work on the Monday, maybe the Tuesday. That's like your working class hero, and he's a really fun fighter to watch as well. He's a guy I've loved watching for many, many years, back in Cage Warriors, before he came into the UFC here. But I think this is a really tough fight to go out on. Good opponent, but I think the smart pick is Ian McCall here. Neil Seery, last fight, he loves a brawl. He's going to want to come out here, put on a show for the fans. And as long as Ian McCall stays really, really smart and uses his grappling, which I think he will definitely have the advantage of. Brad Pickett did the same back at UFC London. I think that's the game plan he has to go for. Seery will look to exchange on the feet. McCall might be up for that as well, but McCall has to use the takedowns. If he can get the fight to the ground, he wins this fight. So Ian McCall fights smart, and I think he does enough to win a decision here. Would like to see a stand-up war. That would favour Neil Seery. I just want to wish him a happy retirement when that comes around. One of the good guys of the UK and Irish MMA scene. I wish him all the best for his retirement. My pick for this fight has to be Ian McCall. I just think he's going to fight smart, use that wrestling chops that he's got, and win a very, very close fight. But Ian McCall for the victory here for myself. Moving on to the main card. I love this fight. Artem Lobov against Teruto Ishihara. Now, I'm going to Belfast next week, and the one guy I'm really looking forward to meeting is Teruto Ishihara. The guy is just... he's one of those guys out there that really makes me laugh just the way he is, and he's like different. You're not your usual kind of person from Asia. That's very, very quiet, very respectful, just kind of out there, and he's a character, and that's what we need more of. And the guy can fight as well. The guy's got some legitimate fight stopping power, like he showed against Horacio Gutierrez and Juliana Rosa. Artem Lobov coming off a much needed win over Chris Avila, where he used... he never rushed things. The fight kind of came to him. He used some leg kicks and really kind of fought smart in that one. Avila, to be fair, is not UFC quality whatsoever. I mean, he showed that against Enrique Barzola as well. Just too many holes there, and that was a fight that Artem really needed to win. I think this has got fight of the night written over it. These guys will want to stand and bang, but Lobov is a hard guy to knock out. Can Ishihara do it? I think he can, but I see this fight being really, really close and going potentially 3 rounds. I think both guys are going to get hit. I think both guys you can see them kind of stumble about a little bit, but for some reason I'm getting pushed towards Artem Lobov in this one, and I don't know why. Head saying Lobov, I think it's a smart pick. Heart saying Ishihara. I'm going to go with my heart in this one. I'm going to go Teruto Ishihara. If these guys exchange, I think he's the more crisper striker. I think that Lobov hits harder, but I think that Ishihara is the more crisper striker, and could potentially catch Lobov there. So I'm going to go Ishihara to actually knock out Artem Lobov, but I'm kind of questioning my pick here because I've just got a feeling for Artem in this fight, being just a drive over from Dublin to Belfast. Not far. He's been in a great training camp with Conor McGregor for UFC 205, so he's been training with good guys, getting himself ready. I think I might regret this pick a little bit. should maybe pick Artem Lobov, but I'm going to go with Teruto Ishihara. I just think he's going to land a big shot like he has been doing in his last few fights, and he could put Lobov down and finish him from there. So I'm going to go a second round TKO victory for Ishihara there. Heavyweight division, Timothy Johnson against the debutant in Alexander Volkov. If you don't know who Alexander Volkov is, he's a former Bellator heavyweight champion who, big guy, 6'4", I think his nickname's Drago. Very good kickboxer who is likes to throw a lot of kicks. He was the M1 global champion as well. Beat Attila Vey last time with a beautiful knockout. And I mean, he was in Bellator. He kind of decreased a little bit there. Lost a split decision to Tony Johnson, and then he lost a very close split decision to Czech Congo. But look, the guy's a legit, really good addition actually to the heavyweight division. It'll be interesting to see what he does here in the UFC. But I really like Timothy Johnson in this fight, and I've seen a few people that I've spoken to about this are picking Volkov. They think he's going to outstrike him a little bit. I think that Timothy Johnson can use like that grappling like he's been shown in the past. Big guy. I mean, beat Shamil Abdurakhimov, beat Marcin Tybura, and I actually think Marcin Tybura is better than Alexander Volkov. So lost to Jared Rosholt. He kind of got the game plan that he usually uses. Jared Rosholt used that there, and it was just a lot better. I can see Timothy Johnson taking this fight to the ground, making it dirty, putting his chest in the face of Volkov, and hitting him with elbows and punches down off the ground. I'm going to go with Timothy Johnson to win, possibly via TKO in round number 3. I'm going to go a decision though in that one. I just think he's going to use his grappling, push Volkov against the cage, take him down, and work from there. Co-main event, kind of Battle of Britain. We have Ross Pearson facing off against Stevie Ray. Now this was supposed to be James Krause against Ross Pearson here, but James went and got injured. Hope he heals back really quick and see him back in there. I think he pulled a hamstring really badly, so Stevie Ray steps up here, coming off a very disappointing loss down in Brazil where he got lay on for 15 minutes of that fight and took no damage whatsoever. Literally just got laid on. When I heard that James Krause was out, this was the fight that I put on Twitter and I said this fight has to happen. Stevie was looking for a fight, and it's just an intriguing fight as well. I mean, Ross Pearson is a guy I think that really should think about moving himself away from the sport. Does he really have to? What does he really offer? I know it's hard to tell a fighter to stop fighting, but the guy last time out he showed some signs in that fight with Masvidal. I mean, he only fought like a few weeks beforehand, like 3 weeks against Will Brooks, which I thought he gave a good performance there against Will Brooks. But I mean, he took some shots in that fight with Masvidal, lasted, but he took some shots. I think it was the end of round number 2, and he thought the fight was finished. And that's telltale signs when you maybe overstage your welcome in the fight game. And I mean, he can't reel 2 fights together, like wins together, and he just does enough to kind of keep himself in there. Split decision over Charlie Priest, I thought he won that. Trinaldo's a tough guy. Paul Felder, he beat him there. Lost to Evan Dunham. I just think that Stevie Ray, this is going to stay on the feet, and I think that Stevie can catch Ross Pearson here, but I also think that Ross Pearson could catch Stevie as well. So it's a very close fight, a very well matched fight right about now. But I think that Stevie Ray can do enough to win this fight if he can get himself off first on the feet. And I think he's a big southpaw as well, where Pearson's kind of struggled against southpaws in the past. I think he can do enough here. I'm going to go Stevie Ray to win via decision. Another decision. I'm seeing a lot of decisions in this card. I'm going to go a very close 29-28 for Braveheart Stevie Ray. And the main event of the night, we have Gegard Mousasi against Uriah Hall. So if you've been watching my videos for a long time, you know I did the UFC Japan predictions for when these guys fought. And I had a feeling straight off that Uriah Hall was going to do something in that fight. I don't know what it was that pushed me to him. You just never know with Uriah Hall. That was another thing. I think that Gegard Mousasi potentially took Uriah a little lightly. And he caught him. And I was a little bit impressed with Uriah Hall off his back in that one. Mousasi was winning the fight up until he him get knocked out in the second round. but something with Uriah Hall you just can't do. You can't sit back and wait for this guy, because if you give him enough time, he's going to get something spectacular off, and he can knock you out like he did against Gegard Mousasi there. But in this matchup, I just see everything on the side of Gegard Mousasi. The confidence that the guy exudes right now is like exemplary. We've seen him at UFC 204 against Vitor Belfort. Very patient, waited for his chance. When he got that chance, took Belfort to the woodshed and just put a beating on him. And the guy's really progressed. I don't think he's far off the title shot. I really don't. I mean, Uriah Hall, spectacular fighter when he wants to be, when his head's in it. Lost to Derek Brunson. Got knocked out. And I mean, Derek Brunson used that extreme speed that he's got and just came in there and caught Uriah Hall. Before that, he lost to Robert Whittaker in a very kind of close fight, but Whittaker was always ahead in that one. He just couldn't. He tried to get off, but Whittaker was just too smart and got out the way of that. Gegard Mousasi for me all day here. I just don't like. In that first fight, I liked Uriah Hall for some reason. This time, I don't see it. I'm going to go a third round submission for Gegard Mousasi. Just, he seems to be on a different level now, and is a really tough guy there. So that's my fights for UFC Fight Night 99. Come follow me on Twitter, WillMartin7 MMA. I'm always there for talking about fights. Leave comments down below. Follow all the good guys down below there, and let me know your picks. That's all I want to know. I'll sell UFC Fight Night 100 picks will be out very soon as well. I might wait till Sunday before I release that there. So come back and check them out when you can. Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate all the comments, the likes, the subscriptions. I will see you if you're in Belfast as well. Come and say hi. I will be there with some friends, so hit me up if you're going to be there, and we can catch up and we can have a drink and talk about some fights. So take care, see you all soon, and enjoy the fights when they come round.